Hello everyone, this is Leslie Ohnstad. Today we're going to do a little bit different type of string technique, a little bit faster. I am using embroidery thread, and embroidery does have 8 strings to it. It's really this particular brand. I like that it soaks up a lot of paint. If you find the strands too fat for your work, you can always split them into 4s or even something smaller, like only 2 strands of these. I actually have, this is an old sack from when I used to do embroidery. And what's nice is sometimes if I want to cut different sizes, I'll use different colors, knowing that the red one is shorter and maybe the green one's longer. So if you might have some old embroidery thread around, this stuff works beautifully. I have I think this is a small little 12 by 16 canvas. We're going to mix a couple colors really super fast. I have the Primary Elements Clear Enamel on the base. The actual brand name is Vivid. Okay, I'm trying to see. If you're looking over my shoulder, because I went to turn the camera around, you'll see it how I'm seeing it. So it's the Vivid brand, even though it's a 32-ounce bottle we have on our website. This is an old bottle. I have a big tub of it here. But I've put 1.5 ounces of the Vivid Clear Enamel on the base. It's a water-soluble enamel. And I've put in a teaspoon of my Primary Elements Beach House Blue. Okay, and on the other one, and this is a slightly larger jar. We don't actually sell this on the website, but it's a 60 gram. It would be the Ultra Big Dog Mama. The lab put this in there for me, but this is our new color Candied Yam, which is kind of a quinacridone gold. So this is going to be more of like a smoky, vintage aged blue. This will have that quinacridone gold look. I have some other colors here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but for a complement, I have a really dark teal Mystic Blue already mixed up from a last pour. I'm unsure whether I want to use this Artist Loft Neon Green. I might just drop a little bit in what I'm going to do, because this is going to be kind of different. So I have the enamel on the bottom of each cup. It's easier to put the pigment on top and mix it in than try to constantly scrape to get the paint up from the bottom of the cup. We're going to mix that Beach House Blue first. This one's a really soft, it has like a soft face powder look, almost like the pigment looks like face powder, so it dissolves really, really fast. Well, that's interesting. The camera's making it look dark, and it's really a medium blue. That is crazy how the camera's picking that up. So it's nicely mixed. I'm just going to put a few drops of pouring medium in first. Pouring medium should always be mixed with your acrylic binder first before you add the water. Mix it well so the acrylics in both bases can bind. That's why you put the pouring medium in first, if you remember. Then a few drops of water till we get to the correct consistency. Add a few drops at a time. Gives the acrylic and the pigment a chance to soak up the water until you get that nice creamy consistency. This is already feeling really nice, and I didn't have to put that much water in it. So here is the Candied Yams. Oh wow, that's pretty. Wow, that is really pretty on the camera. It's that deep, rich candied yam color. Again, dash of pouring medium, just a few little drops. This is about 1.5 ounces dash that we're mixing, maybe even less. It's a 3.5 ounce salsa cup, so now browns have more red in them. They take a little bit longer to break down, so I'm going to mix it just a couple more minutes. Let the binder and the Liquitex and the Vivid Enamel kind of marry A few drops of water. I can tell you the proper mixing, while it might be the most boring part on camera, it is key to having beautiful pours. Okay. I'm going to double check the consistency of my Mystic Blue. It just feels like I haven't worked with it in a week. It feels a little bit thick, so I just add a little bit of water to it. This, sorry, the camera's going in and I better scan out now. This is that neon green from Artist Loft. It is pretty juicy already. The only thing I'm going to do is add a tiny bit of treadmill oil. A few drops to the beach house, a few drops to the candied yams. These should have some left from last time, but just a couple drops to the older colors, just for insurance. And we like insurance. I do anymore. Comes to my painting. Okay. So I kind of want this to be the beach house blue to kind of be the dominant color. Streaks of the darker here and there. This should be a highlight or even maybe put in little spots just before I pull the thing. I'm kind of deciding where this green fits. And you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. So rather than do a dirty cup, I'm just going to get my string over here and get my white paint ready. So I've got plain old Artist Loft white, thinned down with just a little bit of water. No silicone at all. The swipe color, which basically the string is a swipe, should not have silicone in it. I have a little extra here in this bottle to kind of freshen that up. Okay, but the first thing I'm going to do is get this background on, and I'm not going to do it like a normal swipe. Haven't done it this way before, but I think it'll work. I've seen some videos done with regular paint, so I can't see why ours won't. Might get a little place to stick my sticks. Sorry, I don't want to keep crossing over in front of the camera. Actually, even though these are great for mixing, for pouring like I had a squeeze bottle, you're going to find that I'm going to put some color also in these little paper cups because I can get it to tunnel out in small amounts still. Just so you kind of know, if you see me grab that, that's what I'm going to use. Oh, that's an awful lot of that dark teal. I didn't want that much all in that one spot. Oops. Pick any of that up and move it over here. Well, that looks really interesting on the camera. Wow, are you guys seeing this? Look what's happening with the canvas and the silicone, and you can see the interference green that's in that paint popping on that canvas. That's crazy. That's just one color, but the mica that's in it is letting you see that color. That's the beauty of the Primary Elements, man. Okay, so I'm going to be really careful about this color. I'm going to use some for a pop to have kind of that distressed look. You know, beautiful, warm, yummy, orangey browns are gorgeous with turquoise. But I kind of want this just to be a nice accent. We'll see how bright I'm feeling. I got inspired today watching some videos. What can I say? People are inspiring to watch. Now this paint's a little bit heavier than the sloppy pour. I mean, it's still pretty creamy. I'm not thickened up just a little bit. I'm going to add a tiny bit more water to this. I don't know if they look that different on the camera. One's really dark and one's medium. I know we're going to be pulling the white string over the top, so we're going to have some contrast here a bit. So, the quandary, I got an awful lot of blue on there, I got some brown on there. I know I say a lot, sorry for all the ums. Well, I have some Stargazer mixed up. It's really light. I want it white, but contrast is nice. This whole thing doesn't have to be exactly covered, but enough to where when I swipe it, we're going to get good coverage, and it just looks like we're missing some areas. So this is some, oh come on, I think there's a goober in the top of the bottle. This is some Stargazer. Which could definitely, oh please, please work for me. No. I hate it when the squeeze bottle doesn't work on camera. I've got my bamboo skewer here. Going to attempt to fix it. Push that, whatever little goober of paint is in there that's blocking it. Let's hope this works. No. So, guess what? I guess I am going to use my little cuppy thing. I'm going to pour some of the paint in that little paper cup, and believe me, I didn't plan that, guys. That wasn't planned, it just happened. The way I'm liking this thing is I can squeeze the paper cup to just get out a little bit of the paint. And I kind of pour where I think we need some contrast. That's just a little too dark for my taste. I'm a little worried. So, I'm not sure about this crazy green. I'm really not. Let's see how much this paint's going to move all on its own. I think that's just, I'm going for something more weathered or chic. I think the green just might be wrong, too bright. Maybe I can add some of the green in where I'm doing the other thing. Okay, so let's try this. Not done it quite this way. All this is really moving paint around, and you're putting your scraper basically as flat as possible. So all it does is simply move the paint to the bottom. And I'm going to turn it this way so I can take that little bit of paint that's on this side and try to just pull flat up off with my fingers if I have to. This doesn't have to be sloppy wet. We're just trying to get a nice background to this. And I'm loving, if you can see how that candied yam is starting to pop up through that turquoise. Okay, I'm going to do the sides with this. I'd wipe it off, but I think I need to paint on the sides. So I'm going to kind of just move that glue around and wipe that off. Still looks a little bit dry. I didn't want to use more of this dark blue, but I'm worried if there's going to be enough paint here. Saying we kind of ran out over there. And I think I have some of the Stargazer left in this bottle. I'll try to be really careful. Just pour a little bit out. Because you don't, if you go back and forth and you're muddying up the color, you want it to really be able to be pulled down in one swipe to get some nice compliments, at least for what I'm visualizing. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. Just what I'm seeing in my head when I started this thing. Now, also, any places where you skipped, okay, it's skipping that autumn leaf, or actually the candied yam, sorry, it reminds me a little bit of autumn leaf because I love that brown also. So wherever those little holes are, right now I can touch them up and that paint's wet. Fill any area. And this whole right side could do with a little bit of warmth on the edge. So the candied yam color will be really pretty right here on this edge. Okay, so keep moving my string around because I make a mess here. I think this looks like this has more paint. I want this so flat. Uh-oh, I lifted it up a little bit. Oops, be careful, I'm talking and trying to chew gum at the same time. You want it really flat. I'm moving my paints back just in case. Just to where when it comes off, there's paint on the back of the spatula. There's not paint necessarily going over the side of your piece. Because the paint on the back of the spatula, in theory, can go right back up here like that other one we did the top. Okay, I'm going to do these sides with what was left. Might as well, while I've got the mix, transfer that paint to the sides of the canvas, take my fingers and kind of rub it along the edge, just so it's got that little bit. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. But hey, did you see that? Oops. That's interesting. It's going to be, see what happens when because I'm going to be pulling flowers through this. Okay, well, they call those happy accidents, right? Actually, I'm loving that color combination, how that's going over that candied yam color. Sorry, I'm going back the other way right now. I know you can't really see it, but wow. Okay, so I've got a smaller swiper here. Yeah, they're well loved, but don't worry, that's not fresh paint on them. And I'm just going to kind of move that paint to the side here. Meaning I can take a little bit of my Mystic Blue and just kind of finger paint the edges around. One thing is, it's nicer when they're finished on the edges and you don't have to try to touch it up again with what you think you used. Do it in the moment while you can. Okay, and I'm going to touch up this ColourArte gold color, that candied yam. I'm loving what's happening here though, my goodness. So I'm gonna, wherever I've got these little holes, where I'm gonna incorporate more of that wonderful yam color. It's so pretty, my God. And it's okay if there's a little puddle, we can pour that off. It just adds some more interest. I'm not gonna, and I'm tapping to kind of tap the color off the stick. I'm not necessarily, oops, sorry, I'm off camera. You got a glare, give me a second. See if I can get that glare off this for you guys. There we go. Okay, so the glare is off. And we can see the ColourArte gold in here. Keep calling it that. That's the color shade, but the name is Candied Yams. My apologies for any confusion. Wow, I would like to have this background for some other kind of treatment. I loved what happened. Reminds me a little bit of a Gerda Lipsky thing. No, if you guys have ever seen her videos, Gerdalipski. Her work is wonderful. So I'm just kind of going around, touching up every little hole. So yeah, we've got a light, medium, dark. We've got the Stargazer for the light. We've got the Beach House Blue for kind of that weathery gray blue. We've got the Mystic Blue for the dark blue. I'm so glad I did not add any green at all. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to turn this towards me, because I'm going to need to have it towards me. That's actually really pretty on its own, I think, anyway. I love those kind of colors. So let me get my tops on here for right now, just to keep everything from drying out. And move it out of the way. I find out if I tidy as I'm going, I have less chance of making a mistake and dumping something over. Yes, thank you very much. Okay. So, now for the string. What I'll do, just so you guys have a better effect. I buy boxes of placemats, like at a case at a time from the restaurant supply. It's like 20 bucks for 1,000 sheets. Use them mostly at shows to demonstrate, but in this situation it's really handy to just be able to pick up the canvas, drop a couple of them down, and we're basically working on a clean surface again. It gives you guys a better visual. I know it's a little bit sloppy. It wasn't as white as it started, but it's a little bit visual. That way you can see the white paint and the camera isn't distracted by all that other paint on that paper below. So, all right, I've got my embroidery thread. I've got my white paint. I'm actually looking for my bucket of palette knives. I can't believe I started this thing without knowing where my big round container of bucket knives is. Okay, well we'll just get a popsicle stick to help us. Same kind of thing. I want to make sure the paint is dunked and well soaked. Don't stir it because you'll tangle it. You can tap it, like I'm tapping it with a popsicle stick, but don't. Whatever you do, don't stir it. Now I like to leave a nice tail on the end of mine. Okay, and this is going to be a little bit different than the one I did the other day. This is less controlled. It's very heavy, has a lot of paint on it. I'm going to kind of smooth a little bit of excess off with my fingers. Okay, I'm going to start with a little loop-de-loop here. Okay. Kind of wish I had my string a little bit longer here. I think what I'm going to do is actually, not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to have no choice but to pull this sucker. And that is absolutely beautiful. Other than it didn't go far out and wide because I kind of had to stop. Okay, real quick, I'm going to cut some Walker string. I heard you're supposed to go 3 times the length of the canvas. Funny to have you guys sit and watch me do string on here. Okay, so 1. 2. Oops. Don't forget where you left off at. Because it came out of the little holder doohickey. That's about 3. Okay. We're going to see if that's long enough. And I'm actually going to pull this off and create a second one. Boy, this is really, really long. This is crazy to use it that long, but I saw a video that says to use 3 times the length of the canvas. So we're going to try. I'm kind of loving that ghosty look though. Wiping off that excess paint probably wasn't smart because our colors are so intense. I think the more paint, the better. So I'm going to let it soak up the full amount. People who watch these string videos are extremely patient while you're watching us untangle string. Like this just got knotted up. How did that happen? It actually did. It got knotted up and I didn't even stir it. I have no choice but to cut it. It's a fact of life. I'll find a use for that in a minute. If I can use this one for a shorter thing, you know, I'll come farther down the piece. Wow, I'm loving those colors. I want to get more of a loop though. I don't like how the tops of these go flat. That's kind of why I did that other style the other day, where I had to hold the string at the base of the leaf, but I had 100% total control over, okay, this is really long, not one cut. I'm going to try not to tangle this thing because that short one's pretty, but we need a really dramatic, long, tall one. Yay, it didn't tangle. Just make sure it's plenty soaked with paint. Yes, I'm quiet, guys. I'm just focusing on seeing where this is going. This is one of those projects that you don't necessarily that is absolutely stunning. And the white paint has no silicone. And the blue paint, all the colored paint does. I need to do a taller one on the other side. Look at that. Oh my God. I'm trying to get my camera up close and then I'll do a couple more. Look what's happening right here. See that? That's so beautiful. Oh my God. Okay. And knowing that our paints are underneath are going to shimmer again, this would be a really pretty piece lacquered or resined. I'm thinking resin, but I've recently fallen in love with resin on top of our paint. It has that acrylic glass feel. Apologies, I'm having to cut these on camera for you guys. It wasn't my intention. I will not force you to do it in the future. But I'm cutting another extra long strand. One trick is make sure it's all stretched out and even before you dump it in the white paint. And just kind of drop it in. Again, don't stir it, you just want to kind of tap it. Let that thread soak it up. Grab all that paint. And in theory, if you pull it out in the same way that you put it in, you're not supposed to get tangles, in theory. Okay, no tangle on this one. Wow, this is going to be really long. Let's do another really tall one. Sorry, that's going to make our first one kind of look like it's backdrop, but we kind of need to see what this can do. Okay. When you're pulling it, you just have to kind of follow and say, where do I want the feathering to stop? Like, I don't want that thing on the right affected, so I'm trying to pull it right here, which really isn't working, so I'm going to have to let it go. But I stuck my finger in there just for a second so we could keep that little part here on the right. But I am loving this. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Hang on a minute, you guys have to see a close-up of this. Our beautiful iridescent paint is popping right through that white. Almost looks like it was etched in there. I don't want to, this is sticking because I don't have pins on the back. Sorry guys. Ooh, hang on, we have a little fix it here. While it's wet, go in and touch up your paint and then dab it with your finger. Just dab, 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 it'll settle out, okay? But look at the tops of that. Oh, that's beautiful. I am digging this ghosty look. Oh my goodness. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so far out. I wanted to show you guys the whole thing, but I was going to go kind of carefully, slow enough not to make you dizzy. We're starting to get some cells. So I think I can get away with a couple shorter ones. Now that we kind of got our tall ones in here, I'm going to try. I have the shorter strings, of course, than when I did it first. Just see if I can fix that middle a little bit, even though it was intentional. I don't want to ruin any of these, but I always forget I can't sit down when I do this. I have to stand and make sure I'm steady. Going to go. I can't decide where to go. And that's weird. That's just dripping over the top and could have ruined my piece this entire time. I'm literally going to kind of curl it up here, go back and forth, and see if I can't make look like there's one kind of in front of this tall one on the left. That's beautiful. Now I'm glad I have my shorter ones. I'm not reusing the string. String is hard to wash. It's not like a chain. And as soon as you've put the white on it and then pulled through color, you're not going to get bright white again. So I usually have enough cut for all the patterns I'm planning on doing. And I think I'm going to do, get that all the way white. Same thing over here. Just have to kind of figure out where I think I can put in my little extra curl. Well, looks like that's where it's going to go. Stunning. I'm loving the beach house blue and the turquoise and all that stuff coming through the white. And it's kind of ghosting on us. We're getting that ghosty outline, which, I don't know. I think it looked really, really cool. I'm going to use my heat gun. I'm hoping I don't have that paint too thick. I don't want, not the white, I'm worried about the paint underneath being too thick. Sure enjoying this, that's all I gotta say. This is pretty fun. Well, I'm just gonna go for broke here. Pretend I hadn't done that. This is just like part of the one we should have done. I'm gonna curl it around this way. And we'll go into here. And we're gonna go into here. Wow. I'm thinking heat gun. When I say ghosting, it's, oh, the sides are starting to dry here though. When I say ghosting, I meant like the outline is becoming dominant and the other colors are pushing through. And we know this isn't a true swipe. We're just using the string to swipe the shape over the paint that is already got the silicone in it. I don't know, do I leave this alone here and just kind of let it grow up? Do I do one more here in the front like I did here? I really like what's happening here, and I love these little thingies. I don't know. I don't have any more strings, and so that's telling me maybe I should stop. Do we ever know when to stop? I'm sorry I'm laughing. I could fart around, sorry for fart, I could screw around with my painting forever and sit and diddle and diddle and diddle and diddle. Like take the bamboo skewer and kind of whisk out my little wings of white here. And actually, because I don't like how flat they are, round up the shape of my flowers here. Talk about screwing around with your colors. I don't even have my glasses on. I'm trying to do this without glasses, but we love the fact that we can put little wispy things. I mean, I've seen so many YouTube artists do this, that we can wisp stuff out, especially if it feels like it's too flat. This kind of turned flat. Wasn't what I was expecting. I like the more roundy ones. Okay, I'm going to do one more here. But I think you guys get the idea. And there's all kinds of shapes that can be put over the top of the Primary Elements. By the way, we are working with Primary Element Arte Pigments and Vivid Clear Enamel, Beach House Blue, Mystic Blue, and Candied Yams, and a little bit of leftover Stargazer. Absolutely love that color. Okay, we're going to do one more kind of right here, like the curlicue starts here. I've got the string wrapped around my finger. That's awfully pretty. And I love that these are getting whiter and whiter and whiter on the top. Where is my heat gun? It's a pretty quiet one. It's not going to be like a regular heat gun. Hopefully that's not too loud. So, you know, though, I'm really liking what's happening with the colors there. You know what? I think I'm going to leave this. I think I'm going to leave this. So, parts of it are already setting up on the edges. It doesn't look too puddled in the middle. I think the trick to this is making sure your paint is very thin and just pulled across. Any excesses on the edge. There should not be paint that you can actually tilt and pour. This is not a sloppy paint pour that you're doing a swipe over the top. This is more controlled. But I am really happy with this one, as I hope you are too. Sorry it's sticking. And I'm probably not going to edit that out, so I'm going to apologize right up front that we're just doing this quick, fast, and nasty, but that's the top. I'm loving all these little ghosty flowers off the edges. Now, if you really want to touch it up, and I'm not necessarily the greatest acrylic artist in the world, but I did see someone else on their channel using a fan brush. I'm not the expert at a fan brush, to try to create more wispy things and make it feel like, you know, if it doesn't feel complete, you can add some more. This is just a fan brush with some white paint on it, and you're actually swiping with a fan brush in a sense, just in that shape of a leaf. So add a little bit more of this. So feel a little bit more balanced. And that's it. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye.